Hey guys, what's up? This is Eric with the Taking a Phyrix crew. We are here today to talk about our brand new Phyrix character forge. We're going to be walking everybody through all of the new rules involved in creating your new narrative characters for the Phyrix campaign system. I'm joined today with Lucas and Judd. Um, how are you guys doing?
Living the dream.
Never better.
Awesome. All right, well, Judd, I guess I'm gonna just pass it straight off to you. Why don't you walk us through how we came to the idea and what the idea behind the forge actually is?
All right, I'm Judd Roggenbach. I'm the sort of author of the Phyrix character forge. Um, the initial idea of this was something bandied about on the Iterators podcast, really good guys, by Alex, who runs the LVO series. They had mentioned it as sort of a thing in passing of like, wouldn't it be cool if we had this, like, if you could take console upgrades on a Praetor? And I was like, well, that's a heck of an idea. So I was bored and I started working on it. And the more I shared it with these guys, the more we said, yeah, this seems like something that could really add some character to our events. So here I am. I'm going to start talking about it. Um, the Phyrix character forge is designed to allow you to build a narrative for your own hero in the Phyrix system. Um, this forge, this Phyrix character forge will allow you to take a Praetor and add some traits to him to really kind of flesh him out and help you build a story of your legion in the Phyrix cluster. Um, the system is designed to allow you, a player of the Phyrix series, to create and tell a story of your very own. While we understand everybody has attachment to the characters that we see in the books, we all know that their stories are known and their deeds are counted. The Praetor Forge system, the Phyrix Praetor Forge system, allows you to create a new and unique character for our events. This character's fate is yours to determine, and a certain commitment to the narrative is required to make the most of the Phyrexian Praetors. While we have done our best to balance these options, some may offer some opportunities, um, to maximize gameplay. We really encourage you guys, as you get the system, think about the story first and the abilities and traits second. Um, you know, we have taken the Praetor templates, and we have done our very own Phyrexian Praetors. Lucas did the lion's share of the work on the actual template for them, so I'm going to hand it over to him to sort of give his input.
Sure. So what we've done is we've created three new data sheets that are unique to Phyrix, and these data sheets are the Phyrexian Praetor, the Phyrexian Cataphractii Praetor, and the Phyrexian Tartaros Praetor. So effectively, the base data sheet is a carbon copy of what you see in the rulebook. Um, Maybe at some point in the future we'll be tuning them a little bit. Something was brought to my attention that the Terminator Praetors don't have access to master crafted weapons for some reason. Maybe we'll fix things like that we want to tune or whatever. For the version 1.1, which is where we are right now, we really wanted to keep it kind of simple and really put the focus on the traits that your Praetors can take. So we really didn't want to, muck about with the weapons the weapon selection that the Praetors can take and stuff like that. Um, Although there are really cool things that we can explore there, we basically just took a carbon copy of the data sheet from the rule book and then added a little bit to it. And kind of the reason that we went that direction was because we wanted this to be like a bolt-on system to the game. So we didn't want, if they change something about the Praetor in the game, we can just have this is completely standalone. It allows us to create the rules that we want. It basically gives us a sandbox feel to bolt on to the main game rather than trying to modify an existing profile. This is now completely standalone.
So,
So we have it up on the screen. We have the Phyrexian Praetor up on the screen right now.
yep.
So we'll just go over a little bit of it. Right down here, they have a special rule called Phyrexian Veteran, and then they have a subtype. The one that's in Artificer Armor says Phyrexian Veteran, Artificer Armor, and the Terminator one say Terminator Armor. And basically, this is where you're going to select your Risen to Command type. So the idea here is that your Praetor in this case wasn't always a Praetor, right? None of the Legion Astartes were, they came right out of being a scout and were like, okay, your job is to be a Praetor. They had some kind of pathway to get to where they are now. So some of them were forced into command by necessity. Some of them were risen to command through traditional channels. They were a sergeant, and then they were a lieutenant, and then they were this, and then they climbed all the way up to the leaders of the Legion, right? And then some of them maybe had ambition to rule or to be a commander, but the upper echelon of their legion never quite saw them as such. So in their isolation from the command structure of the Legion, they've seized this opportunity, right? So, as you can see, there are 9 different options that you can take on the Artificer Armor version. We've taken hints from the console choices in the main rulebook, and we've taken those and kind of tuned them. None of them are a carbon copy from that, but they're all kind of based on different console choices, almost like the next level up from a console. And some of them are not available to models in Terminator Armor, just like the regular console choices are not. So your datasheet will tell you what you can pick from. But like I said, there are 9 options for the Artificer Armor one, and there are 5 options for the Terminator Armored ones. So, do we want to start going over
Yeah. Let's pick up
the
with the first one in the section talking about traits. The first one is the Hero of the Great Crusade. This is going to be your free upgrade. It's going to be a sort of your generic Praetor plus. And they're you know they're guys who have been sort of going up through the ranks, and now that the larger command has left Phyrix, he's now in charge. Um, let's see. Special rules. A Hero of the Great Crusade gains the Crusade Honors special rule. This special rule says, Crusade Honors, a model with this special rule in any unit they join gains the Heart of the Legion special rule. In addition, if the Slay the Warlord or Secure the Target secondary objective are in play, if the attack which causes the enemy warlord to lose his last wound comes from this model, the secondary objective is worth an additional victory point to the player who controls the model with this special rule. So he may be the free upgrade, but it's a solid, like I could see running this if you're not sure about spending the points anywhere else. This is a solid upgrade to get, and it's our freebie.
Yeah, we
Um,
definitely wanted to include a free upgrade so that way that if you wanted to use this system but you have like a list that you've already picked and you don't want to you don't want to change it at all, you can just slot this guy right into your army. He's good to go.
oh yeah.
So, it's not a
So
big deal.
oh yeah, and you know, so we're gonna move on to the next one, the Apostolary. So, um, this is your librarian who's risen to lead his legion in the Phyrix section. Um, they're trained battle psychers. They have access to the powers and abilities of a librarian. Um, their special rules are as follows. An apostolary gains the Psyker subtype and may select a single core psychic discipline from the following list or any from their Legion-specific disciplines available, as long as the character has the appropriate Legion Astartes X special rule: Biomancy, Divination, Pyromancy, Telekinesis, Telepathy, and Thaumaturgy. And then these guys get war gear options. Some of our traders will get war gear options based off of what their trait is. This one is the war gear. The character may exchange a power weapon, bolt pistol, or combi bolter with a force weapon at no additional cost. In addition, an apostolary may purchase a psychic hood for plus 15 points. So,
Yeah, I think
you
a
know,
lot of people are going to be really excited about this one.
oh yeah, I mean,
Especially with 2.0 unlocking the librarians. I feel like this is a way to put your guy front and center and really just get him involved. I think it's going to be really a lot of fun.
oh yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the warp being employed across the battlefields of Phyrix.
Yeah. And so this one is the most expensive upgrade at 50 points. We felt like the leadership 10 on the Praetor is worth quite a bit, even over the leadership 9 of the console. So he's a little bit more expensive than a regular librarian upgrade, but he fills a double role, right? He is both your master of the Legion, your guy with the highest weapon skill and the best attacks and the best all that, as well as a trained battle psyker.
Oh yeah.
So we felt like that was pretty appropriate for the points cost.
So next we'll go into the Master Strategist. So the Master Strategist is going to be your, your battlefield, your sort of general of the battlefield. He's going to be the one, you know, he's going to be the one with a keen understanding of like how the battlefield works and being able to influence it through various connections to like the surrounding fleets and to scouts and so on and so forth. So his special rules are, he gets the strategic comms special rule. Strategic comms, once per turn, when a friendly unit is called upon to make a morale or pinning test, that check may be made using the leadership characteristics of the model with this special rule or any other model in the same unit as the model with the special rule. In addition, as long as the model with the special rule is on the battlefield but not in reserves, then all reserve rolls made by the controlling player may be re-rolled. So where this character also shines is his war gear. As a master strategist gains the following: a Cognos Signum, a Vox Disruptor Array, an Augury Scanner, a Nuncio Vox at no additional cost. All of these at no additional cost. A master strategist, however, is limited in that he may not take a combi weapon of any type: a boarding shield, a bolter, a power fist, a thunder hammer, a lightning claw, a combat bike, or a scimitar jet bike. This is largely because this is like the general who is at the back of the field directing his troops, influencing the battle through his superior tactics. All right. I know this one was a special one that you were excited for, Lucas. You want to do the next one?
Yeah, I felt like this one was going to be one of the ones for that Deathwing veteran, or that the guy, just your best combat guy. So everybody know, like, the Praetor. This is how a lot of people already kit out their Praetors, is kind of specifically to hunt and fight an enemy Praetor.
Mm-hmm.
So this one will hopefully like give you the edge in those combats. So it's called the Peerless Duelist. So the Peerless Duelist gains Duelist Edge 1, Precision Strike 5+, and the Never Back Down special rules. So in a challenge, he's already going to be one higher initiative than your opponent. I think that's going to be really powerful, especially in a world with no special characters,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Oh yeah.
When
Yeah.
everyone else is also only using generic. So I think this one's going to be a pretty popular choice because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Never Back Down is also really good. It says, if possible, a unit that includes a model with this special rule must issue a challenge when engaged in combat. And if an enemy player issues a challenge to a unit, including one or more models with the special rule, then a model with the special rule must accept. In addition, during the assault phase, where this model begins the fight subphase engaged in a challenge or enters a challenge with an enemy model, this model and all friendly models in the same combat gain the fearless special rule until the end of the assault phase. So while he's in a challenge, even if he loses the challenge in that round, they still can't retreat because they're fearless. So I think that's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
And he may mastercraft a single weapon for no additional cost.
That's
Mhm.
a pretty good upgrade.
So he gets a reroll on one of his hits. He hits before a regular, bone stock praetor. If he's fighting in a unit, if he and his unit are fighting an enemy unit that doesn't have a character, he gets the precision strikes.
Yeah.
Or if
So
your
he,
enemy
he's
is, or if your enemy is foolish enough to decline the challenge.
precisely, he can still stab him.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
So I think that guy's going to be pretty cool. And like I said, I think he's going to be pretty popular. So
yeah.
Absolutely.
So I will pick up again with the assault leader. This is going to represent the character who's been largely involved with like the spoiler squads, um, assault troops, maybe even Terminators. He's going to be the guy who's always at the tip of the spear. Rather, unlike the master strategist, he leads from the front, and everybody is following behind him. So, the assault leader gains the Stubborn and Furious Charge 2 special rule, which means on an assault he's getting 2 extra swings.
Yeah, it's pretty
So,
cool.
no, he's getting +2 strength.
oh, that's right. My bad. I'm good.
It's all
Good
good.
call. So,
It's a lot of rules to remember, dude.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, and I kept diving into the main rule book to check all these. I think originally I was thinking of giving him Rage 2.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that would be the 2 attacks.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so that's where I got a little confused there. All right, this next one I really like. Oh, and I know we're just saying the names of these and the rules. These all have a description of the characters to help guide you in maybe modeling your unit or coming up with sort of the backstory behind your character. I will actually I will actually read one of the last one on the list because it's personally my favorite one. Um, to give you an idea of what that's like. But with this one's called the Living Icon. This is your leader who is just, he's the chesty puller or the, you know, he's a leader of men. His troops look up to him and follow him with devotion. They'll charge into the flames of the warp with bayonets fixed.
Mhm.
So, the living icon gets the following rules. A living icon in all models in any unit they join gains the Fearless, Hatred Everything, and Fear 1 special rules. Um, so he's screaming charge, and everybody's wanting to follow him right in. Now War Gear, he gets to mastercraft a single weapon at no additional cost, and that's going to be his iconic weapon.
Mhm.
So the next one, I'm a bit of a Mechanicus guy in in the first edition, and this one I really enjoyed writing. This is the Disciple of Mars. Now this is not the Disciple of Mars is not the upgrade. It is the class of upgrade. This actually has three different subcategories, and this is going to be like your tech marine who's suddenly in charge of his legion for various reasons, or maybe he's just promoted this far. But so the first one is going to be the Master of Machines. The Master of Machines is going to gain Battlesmith 4+, Master of the Automata, and the Legionis Thalexis special rules. The Legionis Thalexis allows that's one that allows them to take non-compulsory elites choices. So you can add Phyrix to your army, and the Master of Automata says that he may join a model with this special rule. Well, I'm sorry, I'll just read the Legionus Thalexis. Sorry. An army that includes one or more models with this special rule may take up to 3 Phyrix cohorts, see the Liber Mechanicum, as non-compulsory elites choices in the same detachment as the model with the special rule. These units may not select a dedicated transport of any kind. Any model in a Phyrix cohort which are included in the army due to this special rule gain the same Legionis Astartes special rule as the Master of Machines. It shares the detachment. The Master of Machines it shares the detachment with, but may not select the Legion-specific war gear or other options. And then the Master of Automata, a model with this special rule may join a unit that includes one or more models with the Automata unit type, while part of a unit that includes one or more models of this Automata type. A model with this special rule may not make reactions and gains the Fearless special rule. If the Automata models in the unit are subject to program behavior, those rules are not used as long as a model with the special rule is part of the unit. Next one is Master of the Vaults. I think this is going to be a really cool option for like some of our more like Iron Warriors or Iron Hands. But this is the Master of the Vaults. A Master of the Vaults gains the Keeper of the Dead and the Ancient Devotion. The Keeper of the Dead, Ancient Devotion, and Battlesmith 6+ special rules. Keeper of the Dead. A detachment that includes a model with this special rule may take an additional Legion Contemptor Dreadnought Talon composed of a single model as part of the same force organization choice as the model with this special rule. The model with this special rule must join the Dreadnought unit that has been selected at the beginning of the battle during deployment and may not voluntarily leave that unit during play. This is an exception to the Dreadnought unit type, which would normally stop such models from joining a unit including a model with the Dreadnought unit type. And then Ancient Devotion special rule is, while a model with this special rule is part of a unit, all Dreadnought models in that unit gain It Will Not Die 5+, as long as they are part of that unit. So the third and final of the Disciples of Mars is the Master of Cybernetica. This is your master of like the main fighting forces of the Mechanicum and bringing them into the Legion to use to help your Legion in its direst hour. They gain the following rules: Master of Automata, Legionis Cybernetica, and the Battlesmith 4+ special rules. Master of Automata, a model with this special rule may join a unit that includes one or more models with the Automata unit type. While part of a unit that includes one or more models with the Automata unit type, a model with this special rule may not make reactions and gains the Fearless special rule. If the Automata models in the unit are subject to program behavior, then those rules are not used as long as the model with this special rule is part of the unit. And then Legionis Cybernetica, any army that includes a special rule may take a single Castellex Battle Automata Maniple or a single Vorax Battle Automata Maniple. Check the Liber Mechanicum as part of the same force organization as the model with the special rule. Any models in the Castellex Battle Automata or the Vorax Battle Automata Maniples included in an army due to this special rule gain the same Legionis Astartes special rule as the Master of Cybernetica they share a force organization choice with, but may not select the Legion specific war gear or other options. Now, when you choose one of these three, you get access to the following war gear. A Disciple A Disciple of Mars gains a Machinator array and a Cortex controller at no additional cost, and may select a Cyber Familiar for plus 15 points, a Corposant Staff for plus 10 points, or a Conversion Beamer for plus 20 points. In addition, a Disciple of Mars may not select a Legion Spatha Combat Bike, Legion Scimitar Jet Bike, or a Legion Warhawk Jetpack. Eric, you want to talk about the Awakened?
Yeah, I can do the Awakened. So the Awakened is going to be our, I guess, untrained psyker. We were working through the librarian mod for the Phyrexian character forge and decided that it might be cool to incorporate some psychers that maybe are not as well trained to give you a little bit more spice on the table. So in this case, the Awakened are going to gain the Psyker subtype, and can select a single core Psychic discipline, same as the Librarians can. The main difference here is the special rule Untrained Mind, which says that when a model with the special rule is called upon to make a Psychic check, they must test against an unmodified leadership of 7 instead of their own leadership. So you get a little bit more variety, I guess is a good word for it.
Well, yeah, it's a little bit riskier,
It is, but it's also cheaper, and
much cheaper.
Much cheaper.
and it's there to just sort of, give you another option to pursue. Maybe maybe you're from a legion who doesn't quite embrace psychers as heavily as others, and hey, you found some guy that's sensitive to the warp, so we're just gonna let him do his thing. I think it's very cool, and I think it's pretty indicative of the kind of stuff we look forward to building into the character builder, like going forward.
Oh yeah,
more flavorful choices.
and there are some corollaries like Sevatar or
Yeah.
Typhon,
Yeah,
who are latent psychers, and we took a lot of inspiration from those two models, which are
absolutely.
So for the final one,
This is my favorite.
oh
I
yeah,
I
This
said
is
it.
everybody's.
I said the librarian was my favorite. I technically have a librarian model on the table being built right now for this specific use, but I might have to put him away to make a world burner. Not only does
Alright.
it sound completely badass, but it is completely badass.
So I had mentioned that each of these traits has a description. This one I'm going to read so that you get an idea of what each of these traits have their own little introduction blurb. So the world burner. In his shadow, worlds burn and lives are like wheat before the scythe. This commander served with his brothers during induction. However, during the Great Crusade, he was inducted into the Destroyer Company. Perhaps it was due to a disregard for collateral damage or a perceived flaw in his nature. Among the destroyers, he has learned to employ weapons of the old knight, burning a swath through the enemies of the Imperium. Eventually, his skills allowed him to rise to the rank of Moritat. However, the closing of the Phyrix system has left this commander in charge of his legion forces. His brothers, who once looked at him with distrust, now rally to his banner. So the special rules for the World Burner. They gain Scout, Counterattack 1, Chain Fire, and Uneasy Leadership and Brothers in Exile special rules.
I will save you. If you don't know Chainfire rules, please go look up Chainfire rules. That's an
Yeah,
incredibly long one to read.
yeah. So we're gonna let you go look that up in your rule book.
Yeah,
It is as written
yeah.
in the
Cliff notes. You get to shoot 2 pistols until they overheat or you hit a max number, and
Mhm.
then you're stuck in place. So
So
Yeah.
now for the difference from the Moritat, and this is where I think it gets kind of cool. Uneasy leadership. Any unit that joins that is not a Legion command squad or a unit with the bitter duty special rule makes leadership tests at the lowest leadership instead of the highest. This is to represent the fact that, like, destroyers are generally not considered like the stable guys of the Legion.
Yeah.
They play with napalm and
Yeah.
radioactive stuff. So if he suddenly shows up and wants to lead your squad, you're going to kind of probably not be as willing to follow him.
Yeah, for sure.
However, he does have his brothers in exile. A model with this special rule may select any single unit with the bitter duty special rule as part of the same HQ choice. A unit selected in this manner is considered a retinue squad. The retinue squad does not use up a force organization slot and is considered part of the same unit as the model with this special rule. The retinue squad must be deployed with the model that this special rule that with this special rule as part of a unit and may not voluntarily leave during play. All models in a unit chosen this way gain the Chosen Warrior special rule. If this option is selected, only a single unit may be chosen as a retinue squad for this character. Also, a model with this special rule may join any unit which has the bitter duty special rule as if that model had the bitter duty special rule.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Yeah, because
some of you might be going, what does this mean? This means your destroyer, your Legion destroyer squads, your Assault Legion destroyer squads, and your Legion specific destroyer squads count as retinue for your freighter.
and furthermore,
And
we stripped the bitter duty rule off of the Moritat profile. So this guy can join non-bitter duty units.
they
Right.
just may not be in love with the idea.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, but you could. Like, it still
oh
functions
yeah.
as a praetor, but he also functions as a destroyer. So it's
Right.
important, I think, to point out that he can join other units if you want to do that way. But
Oh yeah.
he's written for you to get that destroyer company feel without us writing a war.
Yeah. So war
Yeah.
gear. Oh, do you want to add anything,
I was
Lucas?
just gonna say we're not quite ready to write our own custom rights of war. Maybe at some point, but it's not today.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. So, war gear. The world burner gains rad grenades and a second bolt pistol at no additional cost. A world burner may not take any Legion Spatha combat bike or scimitar jet bike, but that leaves a whole world of other options for him.
Oh yeah.
And we're looking forward to seeing what you come up with.
Yeah,
So,
I think he's going to be popular, I think.
oh, I think so too.
I can't
So,
wait to put him with stuff for sure.
oh, I'm looking forward to building one for my own army.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
this is all of the current version 1.1 traits that we have developed. It is a process on which we are continuing to work. No spoilers for you guys, sorry, but
Mm-hmm.
we will be working on some new stuff. So look forward to the next versions. And
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think just knowing that this is, version 1 and knowing that this is like an evergreen system that we plan on leveraging through the rest of time, right? Or through the rest of Phyrix at least. I think is important to know, and I think we wanted to sit down and give people a reason to tell stories, right? And I think the easiest way to start doing that is to have a really cool main character. And, if you love Lehman Russ or you love, whoever, you can now sort of do your best to replicate that or show them along the way. Maybe your guy's going to outgrow them. Who knows, I'm really
and
excited about this, and I think it's going to be
and
cool.
one of the things that I think um we are aware of is that losing the special characters does limit certain army builds. And if that is an army you wanted to bring to a Phyrix event and we haven't somehow made that available for you, come and talk to us. Because we want you to play your army.
Right.
Um, like a prime example would be Sevatar
Yep.
and his unlocking units as, what is it, troops, Lucas?
He allows the I think he allows the Terminators in the army to deep strike.
Okay.
So you
Yeah.
can play his like Atramentar, you still have to be able to bring the Terminators, but you can play his like Atramentar First Company Assault, and that is the only way to do it. I don't remember the exact details. I'd have to look them up, but he does something specific that cannot be done in any other way, and it's
Mhm.
using his Warlord trait.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you need to, if that is something that you want to do, come and talk to us, because the last thing we want to do is totally prevent you from running that awesome army you've built, and you
Yeah.
know,
And I think it's also worth mentioning that that's also very much at the top of the list for what's going to be added, right? The
yeah,
very next
that
thing
Yeah.
the very next iteration of this will include all the Legion specific rights of war requirements, like all of that. We just wanted to get this out in preparation for our next event, and also to start taking feedback on it. Right, we believe there's enough here for some people to have some really great games. I think a majority of our players, this will slot in directly for as a direct replacement for the characters they were playing before. Maybe slight tweaks to the retinue squad that you're running with them, but for the most part, a lot of players will be able to leverage this immediately, which is why we're releasing it now. So just keep tuned, and
and definitely be posting your if you find a Praetor on here you're going to be running and you're converting one up, share it with us in the Discord. We're looking forward to seeing them.
yeah, and definitely remember that this is a narrative system, right? Like, we are trying to give you reasons to sit down and write your story. And I can tell you, if you drop your links to your story on our Discord, there's a lot of players that are in that Discord and in our community that will take the time and read it and give you feedback, or ask you questions like, where are you going? What are you doing? Like, what's the idea behind this? Um, we want you to lean into the story because we put a lot of effort into the story for Phyrix. Um, and I think when the players, echo that in their own armies, it makes it more fun for everybody. But guess if you guys don't have anything else, I'll just go ahead and wrap it up and do all of the plug.
We're good.
Cool deal. All right. Well, I just want to remind you guys that if you need to check out anything that we're doing, everything's available via our link tree. That will be in down below, up above, at the end title page at the beginning. It's linktree/Phyrix. We have a Discord running. We are on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, pretty much anywhere that content's produced. We are on there doing stuff. So I highly recommend you come hang out in our Discord. We have a lot of players out there hanging out. We're talking about the story, build an army list, sharing pictures. It's a pretty good community, and we'd love to have you. So please check us out. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Take it easy.